say with like a 94 to 98 12 valve, and you see a truck, what do you look for when you get one, or you're looking at buying one? What are some common issues or things that you guys check out to know, hey, this is a good truck for us to be able to offer our customers, or oh, we need to pass on this one?
Well, the first thing on those is going to be just body condition. I mean, it's getting hard to find one of those that's not going to be just completely rusted to the ground, and you're going to have to replace everything except for motor parts. Injectors are cheap on those. Most of the parts for them are cheap. They've got the killer dowel pin thing, and the 98.5, or I think it was 98.5 to 99. The 53 blocks, we basically completely avoid those. Get a crack in the side of the block, and that's gonna set you back big time. Transmissions at that time were not good. They've come a long way since then. Dodge still doesn't have the best transmissions, but I would definitely be leery of any automatic in that age. They didn't come with a lot of power from the factory, so unless somebody's really screwed with it, which we try to avoid heavily modified anyway because you don't know what you're getting into. Check blow-by, make sure the rings are all good. Just typical stuff like that. Look for, well, they're going to smoke, but white smoke at idle is not good. Things like that.
What's a good way to check for blow-by? Like if someone's just, out there looking or something like that, is it just...
Yeah. So on a Cummins, you should really have next to no blow-by. You take that cap off, just a little bit of steam coming out is fine. If you've got pressure popping out of there, turn the oil fill cap upside down, set it on there. If it's dancing around, probably avoid that one. You could be talking piston rings. If it's bad enough, you could be talking, cracked pistons. Those trucks had good pistons, but they're getting so old now that, if somebody hasn't changed the oil enough, the cylinder walls aren't going to look very good, and you're going to be losing compression, and it's not where you want to start.
Yeah, I've heard or read some things or actually, I've even seen videos where guys have done that and they put it on YouTube or something like that, and it's dancing all around, or it's just you can hold your hand above the oil cap and it's just collecting oil on it, and yeah,
yep, that's not good.
I see how it could quickly turn into buying an engine. And
Yep. Good thing about those, like I said, the parts are cheap. If you run into problems, they can be had cheap, they can be put together cheap, and I mean they're easy to work on. You can actually work on those with a wrench. There's not a computer and all that stuff to worry about. So.
And once you get past the 53 block, so we're moving into the VP trucks, the perception that people might read about or friends might tell them is, oh, the injection pump is horrible, it's going to go out on you. What is there ways you can kind of check that on a test drive or just being on a lot and looking at something?
Well, when I'm looking at any kind of a pump, I'm looking for any kind of hard starting issues, smoke at idle, hesitation, that kind of thing. If it's falling on its face, things like that can be a good indication that the pump's getting weak. We're not quite as familiar with the VP44 trucks as we are some of the other ones, but yeah, that's what I would be looking for, is just basically stumbling, hesitation, smoke, hard starting. Any of that stuff's going to probably be pointing towards some sort of a fuel issue.
Well, one of the things that I've talked with a lot of manufacturers about, and even some of our listeners have messaged us about, that I wanted to mention on the VP44 trucks, is like sometimes guys they own one or they're looking at one and they get it up to fourth gear and it'll shuttle shift between third and fourth, and they think, oh, the transmission's going out, but it could be the signal issue with the PCM, and there's cheap fixes out there from different companies.
Yeah.
Like
and
ATS has
this. Even went up into the into the earlier 48s. You'd be driving down the road and it just feels like it's just hunting. Mm-hmm. And there's really nothing wrong with it. Like you said, there's easy ways to fix it. It's just kind of the nature of that transmission. It's not a really computer controlled transmission so much as the newer ones. So it's got bands and stuff that have to figure out what to do with your driving habits and stuff. So
I just thought of this question, and I think it's going to fit like the 94 to 07 truck, so any of them with the 4 speeds, is how do you know when you're test driving a truck if the transmission's smoked? I mean, short of it not moving, what are some things you see or feel driving it?
Hard shift, slipping. I've had some that slip really bad. We've had some that'll still move while they're cold. Make sure you get a truck up to temperature before you buy it. We've had ones that are cold. They'll move just fine. You get them up to temperature and they'll barely get out of their own way, won't come out of second gear. Like you said, the shuttle shift isn't necessarily an indication of a bad transmission, but if you're slamming into gears and slipping between, look for a flare. If you're on the gas pretty heavy and it's flaring up between shifts, going up in RPMs, but your speed's not going up, that's a bad indication that you've got at least a few smoke clutches in there. They do have the bands you can adjust that can help that out some, but basically if I was buying anything with a older 48RE, I would just go ahead and start saving.
That's good advice. Pretty much on any of the Dodge transmissions, it's
Yep.
start saving.